Welcome to the first of a series of a new online guide to employment law. This guide will cover the legal rights at work for agency workers in the UK. Section 1 covers the new agency workers regulations. Section 2 shows case stories, which tell the stories of agency workers Lydia, Viv and Christoph. Let us look at the legal definition of an agency and of an agency worker. An agency is an employment agency or bureau which is registered under the Employment Agencies Act of 1973. An agency worker has a contract for services with the agency and is not employed by the agency. Instead, the worker has an agreement that the agency will find them temporary work. This work is also known as an assignment. The agency or bureau finds the work with a company, and this company is also known as the hirer. We will be referring to the stories of agency workers Lydia, Viv and also to Christoph, who with the help of the union won his right to a permanent contract.
All agencies want to be permanent. When we ask, always it is no. More and more it is agency here. I don't know why we are treated differently.
I was made redundant from my last job. It was well paid and I was really happy there. The factory shut down and we all lost our jobs. It was a bad time.
Because there was many of us who won this fight. Or should I say, the union won it for us. It is true what people say, the unity is strength. After 2 years working for agency, we finally received contract.
Let's also look at what some USDAW reps have to say.
We just feel like they've been mistreated and we need to get on top of that and try and fight for more rights for these guys on the agency.
To make sure that agency workers are not discriminated against. In other words, that will also protect our wages, terms and conditions, because there won't be a workforce on a lesser wage. It needs to be implemented as it was suggested, and we need to enforce the government to make sure that they police the whole situation.
There's a lot of polls at work and a lot of them are agency, and instead of calling them by their real names over the tannoys when they want to see them, they'd rather send them home, they call them by a number. Like agency number 1 or agency number 5 and you come to the pick desk and normally they send them home.
We've got to get in there and we've got to get in there now. We've got to do it not only to protect the agency workers but to protect our present members on those jobs.
Important new rights and new protection are in place for agency workers from the 1st of October 2011. The new agency workers regulations mean that agency workers have some of the same rights as those people actually employed by the hirer. The most important thing about the regulations is that there is a 12-week qualifying period in order for an agency worker to be entitled to certain aspects of equal treatment. These new rights mean agency workers are entitled to equal treatment in certain areas. The qualifying period means that agency workers who have been on an assignment for longer than 12 weeks should be treated in many ways as if they have been recruited directly by the hirer. But the qualifying period comes to an end if the agency sends the worker to a different hirer. The clock starts again on a new 12-week qualifying period with the new hirer. If the agency worker stays with the same hirer, the 12-week qualifying period can only be broken and started again if the new work is substantially different. For example, if the agency worker is an administration clerk for 11 weeks and the hirer then gives them a new role as a picker, the qualifying period will start again. This is because their new role is substantially different from their old role. The 12-week qualifying period can also be started again if there is a break of more than 6 weeks in the same job role with the same hirer. Most agencies will follow the rules and not try to get around the new regulations. However, we know that some will. Watch this clip of Lydia.
We are told that there is new law, but there's only after 3 months work. We worry because we are sent home and then re-employed. We were told this was wrong, was an error. Maybe things will get better with new law, but I'm not sure. At least with this job, they pay right and they pay on time. I'm luckier than some.
For agency workers working for more than one hirer, please refer to the Agency Workers Regulations. These are available to download from our Fairground website or from the USDOR website. Let's recap. Shortly, some examples will appear on screen. You decide whether or not our agency worker will have to start a new qualifying period. Don't worry if you're not sure, the answers will appear in a few seconds. My hirer moved me from the pick area to the goods dispatch area. No, this is broadly similar work, so the 12-week qualifying period does not have to start again. My hirer moved me from one of their sites 5 miles away to do the same job. No, because this is the same job and hirer, the 12-week qualifying period does not have to start again. My hirer moved me from the day shift to do the same job on the night shift. No, this is the same job role, so the qualifying period does not have to start again. Now let's look at what is meant by equal treatment within the Agency Workers Regulations. Equal treatment means equal pay. An agency worker has the legal right to the same pay as a permanent employee doing the same job. This covers virtually all aspects of pay, such as hourly pay, overtime rate, holiday pay, shift allowance, unsocial hours premium, and bonus schemes linked to individual performance. There are exceptions to the rule of equal treatment. Company-specific schemes such as profit sharing and occupational pension and company sick pay schemes are excluded. There may be other exceptions, so always ask about company policies and procedures. Certain conditions as well as the 12-week qualifying period must apply in order to get equal treatment. For example, the role needs to be compared to that of a permanent employee doing the same or broadly similar job. Often this will be obvious as permanent colleagues may work alongside agency workers in the same job role. The permanent employee is therefore what is known as the comparator. Sometimes the comparator will be less obvious. The hirer could argue that there is no permanent employee for the agency workers to be compared to if all the workers doing broadly similar jobs are agency workers. However, in this case the regulations allow for comparisons to be made with other similar workplaces. Remember, the agency worker's job role is compared to either a similar or broadly similar role carried out by a permanent employee at the same workplace. When no such comparator exists, the role can be compared with someone at another workplace run by the same hirer. It may not always be possible to identify a comparator. Please check with your USDOR official. Most agencies and hirers follow the rules. However, watch this clip of Viv.
We've been told that this site will close next year and we'll be moving to another one down the road. That's okay by me, as long as I've still got a job. We're told that it will all be agency on that site, no permanents at all. Everyone picking and loading will be agency. Someone has said it's a way around the new law. I don't know much about it, but she reckons that we should get paid the same as permanents. Well, if there are no permanents, then who are we compared to? It means that I've got no chance of a permanent job, doesn't it? Let's just hope something comes up.
Okay, let's recap on what we've learned. Look at the examples on screen. decide if our agency workers are entitled to equal treatment. Don't worry if you're not sure, the answers will appear in a few seconds. Yes, agency workers are entitled to equal treatment when it comes to basic pay, overtime, and shift allowance. However, only actual employees are entitled to occupational sick pay. Let's look at holiday entitlements and the regulations. Equal treatment means an agency worker is entitled to the same holidays as a permanent employee in their workplace. Remember, under the agency workers' regulations, equal treatment only applies if the agency worker has been on an assignment for longer than 12 weeks. Now let's look at other entitlements under the agency workers' regulations. From day one of an assignment, agency workers are entitled to receive the same information about employment vacancies as comparable employees in the same workplace. However, this does not apply in companies that have a genuine freeze on recruitment. In other words, companies who are not taking on any new permanent staff. The regulations state that during an assignment, agency workers should have equal access to on-site facilities such as a canteen, childcare facilities, and the provision of transport services if available. There is also special protection around maternity. The agency will have to ask the hirer to do a risk assessment where there is a health and safety risk to pregnant agency workers. Where the hirer cannot remove or reduce risks, then the agency should offer a suitable alternative on no less favourable terms and conditions. If suitable alternative work cannot be found, the pregnant worker has the right to be paid until the end of the assignment. Meanwhile, the 12-week qualifying period will carry on during any break in an assignment as a result of pregnancy or childbirth. In other words, the agency worker doesn't have to start her 12-week qualifying period again if, for example, her service is broken by pregnancy-related absence. This will continue for 26 weeks after the child is born. Service will also be protected during paternity, adoption and parental leave. Please refer to the USDAW leaflet for more detail. This is available to download from our Fairground website or from the USDAW website. We've given you a broad overview of the agency workers' regulations, but the legislation is complex. Remember, the most effective way to get your rights is to join a union. Listen to what Christoph has to say.
I remember one day we had a visitor from union who tried to convince us to join. He asked what union can do for us. When we mentioned the situation we have, he says, if we join, he will try to fight in our case and convince our bosses to give us permanent contract. At first we were suspicious, as everyone was afraid about their job. But we decided to take risks, join in, and convince our bosses we are not happy with the situation. Because there was many of us who won this fight. Or should I say, the union won it for us. It is true what people say, the unity is strength. After 2 years working through agency, we finally received contract.
Most information is available from USDAW. Always check with your trade union official that your understanding of the law is correct. Visit our website to sign up for the Home Study course on vulnerable workers and download our available resources. Remember, you can join our campaign at any time via our website or Facebook. Let's finish section 1 with a quiz. Good luck.